At its peak, Kodak was not just a company. It was a cultural icon. For over a century, Kodak was synonymous with photography, capturing the world's most cherished moments from family vacations to historic events. Kodak film and cameras were ubiquitous, and the company's iconic yellow branding, user-friendly products, and pioneering innovations made it a household name. Kodak wasn't just successful, it dominated the market. By the late 20th century, it controlled nearly 90% of the US film market and was generating billions in revenue. It had built an empire on the simple idea that photography should be easy and accessible to everyone. However, in a shocking turn of events, this once mighty corporation fell into decline. Despite inventing the digital camera, Kodak failed to embrace the very technology that would revolutionize photography. It clung to its traditional film business for too long, underestimated the speed of digital transformation, and ultimately crumbled under its own weight. So, how did a company that practically invented modern photography go bankrupt? What crucial mistakes led to Kodak's downfall? In this deep dive, we will explore the key reasons behind Kodak's decline and the valuable lessons businesses can learn from its failure. Founded in 1888 by George Eastman, Kodak was built on a groundbreaking vision to make photography simple and accessible for everyone. Before Kodak, photography was a complex, expensive, and time-consuming process that required professional knowledge. Eastman revolutionized the industry by introducing the Kodak camera, a simple box camera preloaded with film. The company's slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," emphasized how easy it was to take photos and have Kodak develop them. This innovation made photography mainstream, creating a mass market that had never existed before. Kodak didn't stop there. The company introduced color film, disposable cameras, and instant photography, each time cementing its dominance. Throughout most of the 20th century, Kodak was an undisputed leader in the photography industry, generating massive profits and setting global trends. Kodak's success ultimately became its greatest weakness. The company became too comfortable with its dominance and failed to adapt when the digital revolution emerged. In 1975, a Kodak engineer named Steven Sasson invented the first digital camera. This groundbreaking innovation could have transformed the industry, but Kodak's executives dismissed it. They feared that digital photography would jeopardize their film business, which was their primary source of revenue. Instead of embracing digital technology and leading the industry into the future, Kodak buried the invention and continued to focus on film. The company believed that film would always be its mainstay and resisted change even as digital cameras began to gain popularity. By the 1990s, competitors such as Sony, Canon, and Nikon were investing heavily in digital photography, while Kodak was still trying to convince the world that film wasn't going anywhere. The greatest irony of Kodak's story is that the company had the technology needed to dominate the digital market, but chose not to act on its own innovations. It wasn't a failure to innovate. Rather, it was a failure to capitalize on those innovations. Kodak executives understood that digital photography would eventually replace film, but they feared that adopting it too early would jeopardize their highly profitable film business. This situation exemplifies the innovator's dilemma, where a company hesitates to embrace new technology because it threatens existing revenue streams. Kodak clung to its film sales, ignoring the warning signs that consumers were shifting towards digital photography. By the time Kodak finally entered the digital camera market, it was too late. Competitors had already taken over, and Kodak had lost its position as an industry leader. The digital age fundamentally changed how people took and shared photos. Consumers no longer wanted to wait for their images to be developed, they wanted instant access. Companies like Sony and Canon responded to this shift by producing affordable digital cameras. Meanwhile, Kodak continued to push film-based photography, even as consumers had moved on. The technological shift became even more pronounced with the introduction of smartphones. When Apple launched the iPhone in 2007, it included a built-in digital camera, eliminating the need for most people to purchase a separate camera. Instead of adapting, Kodak persisted in marketing traditional cameras in a world increasingly dominated by digital devices. The company failed to recognize the rapid evolution of consumer habits. Kodak was not only slow to embrace digital technology, but it also made several critical business mistakes that accelerated its decline. For instance, When Kodak finally entered the digital camera market in the late 1990s, it priced its products too high and failed to offer features that were superior to those of its competitors. By then, companies like Sony, Canon, and Nikon had already established themselves as leaders in digital photography, leaving Kodak struggling to catch up. Additionally, Kodak attempted to pivot into a printing company, banking on the hope that consumers would print their digital photos at home. However, this strategy faltered as people increasingly preferred to share photos online rather than print them. Kodak's leadership failed to recognize evolving market trends, and their slow decision-making ultimately cost the company valuable time and market share. By the early 2000s, Kodak was losing billions of dollars. Its digital camera sales were insufficient to compensate for the decline of its film business, and the company lacked a clear strategy for the future. The final straw came in 2012 when Kodak filed for bankruptcy. The company that once dominated the photography industry was now struggling to survive. Kodak tried to reinvent itself by focusing on printing technology, patents, and imaging services, but it never managed to reclaim its former prominence. Today, Kodak exists primarily as a niche technology company with limited influence. Kodak's downfall offers a powerful lesson for businesses. Here are the key takeaways. Kodak invented the digital camera but failed to capitalize on this innovation. It's important for companies to embrace new technologies rather than ignore them. Kodak feared harming its own film business, leading it to overlook digital technology until it was too late. Companies must be willing to adapt, even if it means disrupting their own successful products. Kodak failed to recognize how digital technology transformed the way people take and share photos. Businesses must listen to their customers and evolve with changing consumer habits. Kodak entered the digital market too late, missing the opportunity to lead. Companies should act before trends become mainstream, rather than waiting for competitors to take the lead. Kodak's story is one of the most tragic failures in business history. The company had everything: brand recognition, innovation, and financial resources, but it did not embrace the future. Had Kodak acted on its own inventions, it could have been a leader in digital photography instead of a company struggling to survive. Instead, it serves as a cautionary tale of what happens when a company refuses to adapt. Kodak's fall reminds us that no company is too big to fail. In a world of rapid technological advancements, businesses must stay ahead of the curve, embrace change, and listen to their customers or risk becoming irrelevant. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos where we talk about businesses and companies that failed due to their own mistakes. Thanks for watching.